In 1996, I passed through an immense dark night of the soul that I later understood was actually even more intense than that and was a dark night of spirit passage. There was so much going on at once of a destructive nature that I finally realized it was like my whole beautiful city of creation of my life and every aspect of my life had a big wrecking ball come through in a very short period of time, in a matter of a few months, and destroy and knock down everything. I got to the point where I was like this barefoot girl, stripped of everything, standing in the rubble of that which was once my life. In the process, as all the cycle was unfolding and each hit would take place, I would do the quest work. And immediately I'd go from knocked down for the count and just totally devastated, upset or wrought, stressed out, to peaceful, calm, clear, and directed. In that moment, I would realize that I was restoring myself very quickly, not only to my authentic self, but I was stepping up on the next level, what felt like an initiatory path up the temple steps. As I would get to each next step, of course, the next hit would take place, and the same process would happen. Finally, going through it, I realized, wow, it feels like after these years of developing the quest, that I was having my final exams, and that what was taking place was a life scenario of the hardest challenges that people would have to endure in close succession to one another. I was able to be a proving ground of the quest. It was a great test of the quest and a testimony to what could be accomplished. And of course, up until then, I was dealing with real life intense issues and challenges, but having the dark night of the spirit passage really got to be the last proving ground of it that showed me what it could mean for humanity. In that time period, as I was getting towards the end, when the cycle was gearing up, and it was really the demolition cycle of just seeing the wreckage and ruin of my life, the marriage, the finances, the global project, and all that was coming down, there was a time where I felt like I was about to just go over the edge. I was at the brink, and I could feel my mind just about to snap. That in a second, that was it. I'd be over the edge. Like, it had just been too much, too long in close succession, and I was finally at that point when I was in a car on Oahu of Hawaii, and I started smelling incense. So not being at home, there's no way that there would have been incense in there. And I started smelling incense, and immediately I saw the sage Yogananda. And I have, of course, seen this picture before. And so I knew who he was as he stepped forward and almost came physical in his saffron robe. And in that moment, he touched my arm, and I could feel it. And he looked into my eyes intently, just right here in front of me. And he said, "Let me handle everything. You move into peace." Well, there was so much going on. It took felt like a lot of hours, a lot of time for me to move into the peace. But very quickly, all the different facets of things that were happening just started to resolve. Like, I had to leave the place at Christmas that I had been living, and a new place came in miraculously, and all these little miracles started happening. Meanwhile, because of the quest work, I was staying in my authentic self. So I was positive and proactive, and in that right mindset, that miracle consciousness, that would allow all the synchronicities to take place and the miracles that would start remedying my situation. Soon after, as I started settling in, and just very shortly after the visitation from Yogananda, I had a miraculous experience where I was taken up to the heavens and to a huge temple, very spacious. As I entered following my inner divine self, and down to what would seem like the altar area, there was these magnificent beings, male and female, sitting on throne-like chairs, and they were just radiant beings. And they told me that they were Alpha and Omega, representatives of the Father, Mother, God, and that they had watched the passage I had gone through, and they're the ones that had named it the Dark Night of Spirit process. And they saw how extraordinary this work is, the quest, and what it could mean for humanity. And they told me that they were giving me a dispensation. And at the time, I didn't even know what a dispensation was, but they said, we're giving you a dispensation so that you can further develop this work. It is very important, and it's going to touch a lot of souls. Immediately, I went from financial devastation, the end of my marriage, the end of so much, and that rubble, standing in the rubble existence, to meeting a beloved. And immediately, within months, and a lot of divine synchronicities and amazing experiences, I ended up living in a villa on Maui, where I was totally supported to do my most landmark research in the psyche. I started understanding what a dispensation meant, because I had been catapulted from one life in reality to a palatial existence living in the Temple Shanti Aloha, a beautiful villa overlooking the ocean, where I had my own beautiful sanctuary, healing room, and office, and where I was able to do the most profound, deep, deep work into the psyche and make so many exciting discoveries. That cutting edge moment of the pioneer and the new frontier, it was so landmark that every day I was in awe of what I was finding, and all the pieces of the puzzle were bringing out the quest and its practice and principles. It was then 2000 when that was rolling and really coming together beautifully, when I was meditating in my bedroom sanctuary, and I started smelling roses. And for the 2 years I lived there, I never ever smelled them before or after. We had mostly violet flowers in the gardens. And all of a sudden there was a swirling white energy, and the molecules started coalescing and forming. And there was Mother Mary standing there in the room, almost physical, yet ethereal. And I remembered in that moment, I had a flash that 14 years before I had had a powerful experience with her, where she helped me at a very critical and heartbreaking time. She had was an ally in a moment of this beautiful divine experience, but it had been 14 years. And she began to tell me that she had come to sponsor the quest in the world, that she saw its ramifications, and that people in this time period needed it, and what it could mean for those that were undergoing the great travail and breaking through the barriers and boundaries of their unconscious patterning to help birth a new world, and that she had come to stand with me and to bring it to the world. And everything she told me was coming to me in living movie pictures, and I was seeing everything she was saying, the ramifications, all the souls that would be quickened from it. I had a vision of souls around the earth wearing these dark cloaks, and they were in every area of business, economics, education, all throughout the world, every race, every nation, and they looked like the normal humans, but they were starting to get quickened by the quest. And all this inner transformational work was going on as they were getting quickened internally, yet still wearing these cloaks so no one really knew. And then all of a sudden I just saw that we came to this exponential point in time. It was like almost like trumpets sounded, and everyone at once threw off their cloaks, and they fell to the ground, and everyone was light filled, and the world was just illuminated. Like it's like the Christmas lights have been turned on, like in one instant, all together, everyone on the planet are of these awakening souls that were doing this personal transformation that was then creating a planetary transformation. And then I saw just streams of light, because they were all in their authentic selves, all linked up with the divine, that streams of light and information and ingenious ideas and archetypes were flowing through each person into their medium, into their area of service. And the world is getting transformed at such a rapid time period that it was like a twinkling of an eye, so much transformed. The systems were up-leveled. It was almost unbelievable, but it looked so practical and real as I was seeing it, like doable, actually, from that authentic selfhood, from that place of consciousness and what spirit can do in and through us when we're linked up. And I saw the connection and key with the quest, and now here was Mother Mary standing with this girl alone in the world in her little laboratory of the soul, who had done this pioneering work and found all these things and pieced it together and developed the 7-step quest counseling and psychological healing system. And here she was to help bring it to the world and make sure every soul on earth that it was destined for would find it. And so we continued and birthed the Institute of Advanced Healing under her guidance. And in 2002, I felt the electricity of knowing some kind of divine transmission was going to come through. I didn't know if it was inspiration, a song, or writing. And I knew to record it, and I pushed that button. And all of a sudden, a divine energy was flowing through me as divine being after divine being came forward and spoke and anchored the temple of sacred alchemy. Now, the quest work is really a sacred alchemy, and the people utilizing it are really sacred alchemists. And I felt the temple anchoring through the Institute of Advanced Healing, which is the interpersonal interface with the world, through its training courses and all that. And that they were telling me that they were the spiritual board of directors of this whole activity of light to bring this to humanity through the quest and the music, books, and films, and of course the Lemuria Rising project. And that they came to fill each seat, but each one would have an entourage. So Mother Mary with Jesus, with Mary Magdalene, all hold a seat, and the different masters, and Elohim and archangels. So it was more than 33. So for 3 hours straight, this electric energy was pouring through me as I was being anointed, and the temple was being activated, and the divine plan was being set in the physical reality of the earth. And then there was a week between that I was acclimating to that download, and then the rest came in took another 2 hours and completed the 33 seats. And to this day, they are the divine directors of everything we're bringing forth and to bring the quest to the world. And Mother Mary has presided in all the sessions. And so every time somebody comes, wherever I am in the world, or even on phone, the temple gets activated. She and other divine ones form like this circle of light around us. We go to that deepest level in the psyche to work in that unconscious of humanity through the person coming for healings, inner aspects and shadow aspects that are up for healing. They link globally, and a really huge session takes place, a global session. In that moment, I see it all, and I'm watching it all, and I'm seeing that many souls around the earth, the unconscious aspects of them, are attending. And sometimes it's millions are attending our session and are shifting. And as the person shifts, I'm shifting, and they're shifting, and then the records are now complete for that archetype or that patterning that was, a facet of that patterning prevailing that was holding all the travail and the dark side of what has been happening on Earth, and healing that history, healing the memories, healing the records, and restoring people to that next level of authentic selfhood, empowerment, and alignment with spirit, and alignment with the divine intention for our planet and our lives, in anchoring heaven on earth and in our physical realities. And so, in conclusion, it's just been a most miraculous journey, and I am forever grateful to the Divine Ones with me and to Mother Mary for her sponsorship, to Alpha and Omega for that dispensation, to take that girl standing in the rubble and show her how purposeful the dark night of the spirit was, and how essential in bringing this out to the world, and what it can mean to all souls that are undergoing travail, that no matter what we've all gone through, no matter how wrecked or ruined we have felt, stained and destroyed, that we can restore ourselves with this sacred alchemy process of the quest very quickly, and I am a living testimony of that.